Secretary of State John Kerry talking terror with world leaders just a few minutes ago, but he left out one important word, Islamic. Listen.
The second major test facing the United States, Europe, and indeed the entire civilized world today is, of course, the rise of violent extremism.
So should the administration call it what it is, or are they right? Here to debate is Dr. Jasser, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy and author of The Battle for the Soul of Islam, and Cheyenne Alahi, civil rights attorney and practicing Muslim. Nice to see both of you this morning.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
Good morning. Dr. Jasser, I want to get your take on John Kerry's statements there, leaving out the word Islamic once again when speaking to those leaders. Were you surprised?
No, because if you look at what the greatest obstacle in the world is right now to getting moderate Muslims who want to reform to engage the ideologies that fuel radical Islam, it is the administration and the free world who will not identify the problem. You know, a phobia is an irrational fear of the unknown. Well, you can't address what we are dealing with unless we know what it is, and that is political Islam. So if you want Muslims to take ownership, call it Islamism, call it political Islam so that we can engage reformation. Without that, people are going to get more and more fearful because nobody identifies what it is.
Cheyenne, do you disagree?
Of course I disagree, because Secretary Kerry is being really smart about this. We are all in this together. We have to make sure that countries collaborate with us in this fight against extremism and groups like ISIS and groups like Taliban and groups like Boko Haram. So if you go around bashing their religion, their faith, how would they go to their people and get the support they need to fight against these people? I think also Secretary Kerry and President Obama have been very sensitive to the very fact that Islam bashing in America specifically has been on the rise because of people like Mohammed Jasser, who's on the other end of this conversation, because they are spreading lies about 1.7 billion Muslims and assigning collective guilt to them. So we have to be very careful about our conversation. We have to be very careful about our conversation, which, you know, now American Muslims are facing hatred from the left, bigots like Bill Maher and bigots like Bobby Jindal all coming together and marginalizing American Muslim, and this needs to stop. Well, and I think President Obama is being very clear. Excuse me. President Obama is being very clear. Excuse me. President Obama is being very clear when he said on the prayer breakfast that, you know, no one is above any other religion. Nobody should get on their high horse.
Well,
and as
listen,
John chapter 8, verse 1 says,
it's your leadership.
He who has,
you're not going to bully this entire conversation.
Well, he's on TV 24/7 making his absurd points.
Okay, this is the way it works in the Middle East, huh? Is you just bully and control the community. The bottom line is that the ideology of political
Islam. Well, I'm not from the Middle East. I'm an American.
Islamophobia. If there's a reason that Islamophobia is growing, it's because Americans and the world do not see you addressing the Boko Harams, the Talibans, the radical Islamists, and admitting.
That's because people like you are lying to them and are misrepresenting what Muslims are doing around the world.
Not only are you in denial,
more Muslims are being killed.
We can have a civilized conversation, gentlemen. Hold on, one at a time. One at a time. Dr. Jasser, finish your thoughts, and then we'll get Cheyenne to finish his thoughts. Dr. Jasser first.
His denial and obfuscation is causing an inability to address the ideology. Why? Because he doesn't want to admit that political Islam, which has a major nonviolent element, is the source of the radicalism, and it's a supremacism that infuses groups like CARE and others, and they want to call Muslims like me who love my faith bigots rather than dealing with the idea. No different than the Saudis, the OIC, and others want to suppress free speech and whip reformers because they don't want to deal with the real truth that that's what's causing this radicalization.
Cheyenne, you're hardly a reformer. All you do is take money from Islamophobes, fund your organization, and co-opt pictures of Malala Yousafzai. How dare you co-opt the picture of Malala Yousafzai in your ad? Did you get her permission? She is opposite to what you stand
by reformers who you are all afraid of.
I want to know if Malala Yousafzai signed off on her picture. You stole her picture. That's the kind of person you are.
Right, guys, we got to wrap it up. We can continue this for the next hour.
Gentlemen, lying about Muslims.
We can continue this debate online this morning. Gentlemen, let's continue this debate on our Facebook page this morning. You guys can go back and forth all morning long if you want. Grab some coffee on FF Weekend.
Why don't you ask Mohammed Jasser to have a real debate with me at some point for half hour on your show? Because
I think your behavior shows Americans exactly what the Muslim world is dealing with. Thank you for
waking us all up this morning at 6:30 in the morning. We appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go to our Facebook page.